lot of them buddy stories, they're true stories. And like I said, I've trained over probably 5 helpers that are completely green to becoming lead
Okay.
service techs or installers. This is the blue collar world. This is the trade. It's real life out there. And if you do let your guard down and get caught slipping, you could, anybody could end up in the situation.
Hola, what's up, everybody? My name's Adrian Garcia. Welcome and welcome back to the Reliable HVACR podcast, brought to you by Jobber, my favorite CRM. If you guys need to get organized, better manage your business, Jobber is the perfect app for that. It's on your phone, it's on your tablet, it's on your computer, anywhere you have internet access, and you can invoice, quote, do your maintenance agreements, schedule jobs, get this customer hub where you can interact with your customers, send out reminders. It does so much for your business to help you free up your time at the end of the day. So if you guys want a free trial and discount, you can go to getjobber.com/reliable HVACR. Then we have Vito Pro Pack. I cannot tell you how many bags that I went through before finding out about this company with these high quality bags. If you guys want some good bags, some good tool bags, and really any bag you can think of, go to vitopropack.com. Ever since I've gotten their bags, they've lasted forever. All of our guys at our company have switched over to them. We've gotten them tool bags, backpacks, you name it, because Vito has it. So ever since I switched over, my bags have lasted so much more. I love the variety and the different uses for these bags. I mean, you can get creative with it. So like I said, go check out vitopropack.com. Go look for a bag for yourself. Right now they're having a spring promo. It's basically buy one get one free, so take advantage of that. You won't regret it. Now, if you guys are listening to this on audio podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to it, please leave a 5-star review. I would really appreciate that. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, like, and comment this video if you enjoyed it, and I hope you guys are enjoying the podcast. I really love doing this. Great way to meet and talk to a lot of these guys, get their stories out. And I appreciate you guys for tuning in and making this what it is. On today's episode, we have the one, the only Casey. He is also known as CaseyC650 over on TikTok. Big following over there. That's probably where a lot of you may know him from. You can also find him on Instagram, CaseyC650. So if you guys have been following him on Instagram, super funny, one of the most real people that you'll meet, tells it like it is, puts a smile on your face, makes you laugh, all that great stuff. If you've seen him, you've seen his content, him and Buddy, which is just a funny thing that he does with an apprentice. He's one of the first TikTok people that I followed. I thought he was super funny. The skits were really great. The whole thing with Buddy, like I said, awesome stuff. And then lately I've seen that he's been inspired himself to help others because he's been through addiction, running his own business, obstacles, over and over that he's overcome. So without further ado, let me introduce to you Casey. If you have not met him yet, if you have not seen his content, I highly encourage you to follow him either on TikTok or Instagram, and enjoy the show. All right, my guy Casey, how are you, buddy?
Let's go. Doing well. Thank you.
I don't know if anybody follows you and kind of knows what your content and stuff, they'll kind of get that little that Buddy reference there, and we'll talk about that later too. I love the stuff that you're doing, the comedic side, the HVAC in general being something that gets the trades out there. I think that's what we need more of on the social media stuff. I've leaned into the funny stuff as well for my content, kind of seeing what you've done with it. I don't try to do what you do. You have your own thing, and it's fantastic. The little jokes, the skits, Buddy that we'll talk about. Like I said, I think that's great. Not a lot of people do stuff like that or can do it well, and you've managed to do that and then bring awareness to the trades, because then you get a lot of I see you get a lot of engagement. Anybody listening, this guy has, what are you up to, like 150,000 on TikTok now?
Yep. Just hit
That's pretty good.
150,000.
Yeah, man, that's pretty good, man. I still have yet to figure out TikTok, but eventually we'll get there. I'm trying to get into that too. For anybody listening, the guys that, like I said, my audience is more YouTube, Instagram based. I've seen you on TikTok. I've seen you transition over to Instagram now. So for anybody listening, what part of the country do you service? Like where are you in the country? And then what kind of work do you do?
Yes. What's up, guys? I'm CaseyC650, and I, I always got the Virginia hat, trying to rep my state. I'm Northern Virginia. I'm born and raised about 30 minutes south of Washington, D.C. And I go all the way down to Richmond. I'm right on the East Coast, the whole 95 corridor. That's me. If you're from Virginia, all around McLean, Fredericksburg, down to Richmond, up to DC. And, we do venture into Maryland. We're the DMV. We got, all three of us crammed in right here. So,
And you are a business owner, right? You run your own thing now?
yes, I have a company. I'm a master licensed HVAC technician. And
What kind of work do y'all do?
we do, obviously HVAC, but we do commercial, residential. We do about everything.
So you dip your toes into every aspect of it. You don't say no to work.
That's exactly right, and that's funny the saying you said, because I like saying that because I've been venturing into ice machines. So I always say, I'm dipping my
Oh,
toes into ice machines, and people get a little kick, like not really putting my toes in it, but yeah, I'm
hey man.
venturing over to the refrigeration side now.
Oh, no way. So are you doing that like what is that for? Like restaurants or what kind of places?
Yeah, commercial buildings, restaurants. Started off with the ice machines, and then it just grew. Actually, somebody from TikTok reached out to me. A building in my area. It's a huge building, a million square foot, and I went out there, and just through this app alone, it's made connections like that, and I got the contract with the building. It's tons of refrigeration, coolers, HVAC, exhaust. He called me the other day to come out to work on an exhaust fan, and I get out there and the thing's as big as my work truck. I'm like, man, but it's just the opportunities from this app that, that
Dang.
they're limitless when you put you out to the world like this.
Yeah, and that's kind of cool that you're doing that because I want to say I might have heard that from your content or something, but uh, if you get into HVAC just in general, right? Like it's all the same. I know it's different. Like when you go to residential, commercial, like you said, refrigeration is a little bit different, but it's all the same. It's all the same cycle. It's all the same major components. It's just they're wired a little different, or you got different safeties. You're doing different things with it, like making ice, but it's all kind of the same thing. And if you get into one, if you just get your foot in the door, you can actually do something different. And I like the variety of the refrigeration side because I do kitchen work and I do hospital work, stuff like that. And I just see so many different kinds of equipment on the daily.
Yes, that's right. And when I got hired into this trade, when I was, man, just a little helper in 2010, I was lucky enough to get at a company that they did residential and commercial, and we got into rooftop. I remember the first time I seen a package unit, it didn't have a line set to it. I was like, what's going on? Everything's all, in one piece there. And man, I was so thankful to see all sides of it, all commercial, residential, so many different applications.
So then, as far as your business, how long have you been doing that? Just being you're on your own.
Since 2020, the end of 2019 is when I left the company I was at for 10 years, and
Okay.
and ventured out and started, had to get my contract, had to get all the license, get all my ducks in a row, no pun intended, but that's what I had to do.
I've seen a lot of people start in that time period. Was that kind of scary for you when all that kind of everything kind of shut down?
Yeah, that's when I started making these videos, to be honest. My story, I left that company. I was at a low spot in my life. I transitioned, turned my whole life around, and I don't, not to sound like but these videos helped me so much. And I started out making motorcycle videos, and I transferred, putting the HVAC into it. I saw that people took a liking to it, and I kind of transitioned my channel over to HVAC because it's what I did, it's what I know. And motorcycle was just something, to during the pandemic to keep me busy, try to keep me on the right path. And these videos have just changed my life.
Yeah, man, and I saw that recently that you mentioned like the OG viewers or people that have followed you for a long time will know that you started as a motorcycle channel or profile. I
Right,
didn't I
right.
didn't know that. I haven't scrolled far enough down to see that. But what was that? Is that like a hobby of yours? Like what kind of motorcycle do you got?
Yeah, man, growing up in the DMV, everybody's bike life. I grew up riding dirt bikes. It's always been a part of my life. I have a whole garage full of bikes, but yeah,
Nice.
like I said, I was going down a bad path, and when I left that company, I said, man, I need to change my life. I made these videos. I made started, just getting my life together, and then started my company, and things they've been unbelievable.
So what kind of bike do you ride?
It's a Kawasaki Ninja
Nice.
600. Yeah.
So that's a hobby of yours. You still do that?
Yes, absolutely. Yep, yep.
So you just go out and dirt bike,
Yeah, yep, yep.
get all dirty after work.
Yeah, yep.
Oh, that's cool, man. Yeah, I had seen that you said that about your profile. So when you transitioned the content to HVAC, what was that like? You just started showing like kind of the stuff in your daily job, and it kind of took off.
I'm gonna tell you, man. When I had that first viral video, that first, million, 2 million view video.
What was that first viral video?
That's funny because it was like a construction video. It was before I really put the HVAC niche into it, and I was out in my driveway. My wife was with me, and I had a salad and it was trash. That's the funny thing. It was expired and I was throwing it out. So I said, let me just make a video real quick. I had a hard hat on, I believe, and somebody might remember this. I kind of feel bad because it was, it wasn't really a great video, but it got tons of views. And acted like I was on the job site, and I was like, "Oh, what the wife packed for lunch? A salad." And I threw it in the truck, and I was like, "Let's go to McDonald's, boys." And my wife filmed it. So many people hated on it, and it was like, "Oh, it was crazy." But we got a laugh out of it, and it got the spark going that it triggered something in me. I said, "Man, I need that feeling again." And I just, every video, I try to make it as best. I try to get it out there, and some of them take, some of them don't. And the ones that do take, it's the unexpected ones. It's like I would have never thought that video. I just did one a few weeks ago. I think it's at 2 million views, and I was just coming out the vent with the little sound,
Oh
and
yeah,
yeah, and it's just they
that
take
was
off, and
that
that
was great.
feeling. Yeah, it's a feeling you can't explain, but I love it. And when I got that video, I said, man, there's something to it. And I just kept going. I kept putting HVAC into it. And I saw, like I said, I started getting a following with HVAC. And, I just rolled with it and found a way to bring my creativity, my positivity, and spread the message. I've had a lot of people in the trade help me go through school, help me get through things. And I just love to give back and try to help some other people out.
Yeah, and that's a good way to describe it because I was gonna say like your content. It looks like it's to make people laugh, to get people to enjoy themselves, and then you do try to give back when you can, and you're helping others through the content. I've noticed even like myself doing content now. It's like the people watching you, you're helping them out. You're answering questions or just making their day by posting something, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
all in good fun. It's all great. And I will say TikTok, well, Instagram's kind of the same way. Whenever I post something that's a little bit two-sided or controversial, whatever it may be, people kind of go crazy for that kind of stuff. And it's like, it's good and bad, but it's fun.
Yeah. And, they don't even know my wife filmed it. They were all like, oh,
Oh yeah.
you'd be so mean to your wife, but it was just a joke. The lettuce was expired, and then the people wasting lettuce and stuff. I was like, man, they really came after me, but that was a fun one, and that was like my first viral video, and yeah, I'll never forget that one.
Man, that was interesting. But you know what else is interesting? This podcast is presented by Local. Local works tirelessly to help HVAC contractors rank higher on Google. They use an attack methodology to make sure that contractors dominate their local service areas and increase their market share and generate higher revenue. Reach out to Local at localhq.com/reliable. Mention me or the Reliable HVACR podcast, and you'll get 2 months of SEO for free. You've built this up. Like I said, you have a pretty good following on TikTok. I've seen you on Instagram now. Now that leads to opportunities here and there, right? Like I said, you do help others. And you just recently, I did want to go over it for a little bit. You did recently have like this partnership with, I believe, Klein and Lowe's, and you guys actually went to a community college. Can you tell us what that was about and how that came about?
Till this day, that was an amazing experience to go, share my story and shine light on the trade. And so, yeah, I was partnered with Lowe's and Klein. It was Southside Virginia Community College. I went down there. They were donating tools. Lowe's donated money to the school, and I also got to speak with the students and go over some tools, do some demoing with them. But I worked on that speech for so long, and I had so much I wanted to say to them, but I only had about 10 or 15 minutes to talk. But I ended up going 22 minutes, and it kind of opened something to me that I want to do more and give back. And those were like first year students all the way up to fourth. So it was great to be able to talk to the students, have them. We did a Q&A. They were asking questions, and that was like my first little footwork in that department, and it really felt good. And I'm looking forward to getting out and doing it again. And I came back home, the first thing I did was reach out to more schools, because just like that viral video, it sparked something in me to go just share my story and help others.
That's really cool. Like, did they seem like excited and eager when you were there,
Yeah.
and just talking about HVAC and tools in particular?
Yeah, they were, man, the dean of the campus, Lowe's, everybody was amazing. And when I started my speech, because public speaking is it's a
Oh
whole
yeah.
different thing too. When you get in front of the camera, it's kind of easy, but when you got hundreds of people in front of you, and so my first thing was said, I wanted to grab their attention. I was like, I have a confession to make, and everybody was like, what? And I said, I think I enjoy shedding light on the trade and training technicians just as much as I enjoy fixing them. And that was my starting statement. That was my punchline. And then I was just rolling. But then I said, anybody know Buddy? And it was kind of quiet when I said that. And I was like, come on, nobody knows Buddy. And then, so as I was talking, an older lady, she actually pulled up one of my videos, and out of nowhere, Buddy said, "What's up, my guy?" As I was speaking, I was like, there he goes. So, but yeah, it was a fun time. I went through a
Yeah.
4-year school as well. So to be able to give back and share my story, how far I've came, and show the students you can go through this, you can come out, be a
Yeah,
business
man.
owner.
That's awesome. I had seen that the other day. That happened recently, I'm assuming, but I had seen that the other day, and I was like, "That's that's awesome," because not only are you working with Lowe's and Klein, but this is to go help a bunch of kids that needed those tools, or that school that needed them, and getting people excited for the trades, right? That's what it's all about.
That's it. That's it.
People see you right now. They see a very successful individual, entrepreneur, blowing up on social media, all that good stuff. But what is your story? Like, whatever you'd want to share with us, as far as like starting out, any obstacles that you overcame, and kind of like shedding some light on that stuff.
Yeah, I'm very open about my story because it plays a huge part in my life. And just like anybody else, everybody has somebody struggling, and I believe addiction should be talked about more. It's something that I've been through, man. So I've been I've been in the trade 14 years now, and coming up at the company I was at before I went out on my own, I had some hard times and struggled with addiction. But leaving there, getting myself together, it was the best thing that I've ever did, and it opened so many other doors that they would have never happened if I didn't make that leap. And just to be able to put myself out there like that and share my story, what I've been through to come to the other side. I know so many people are struggling as well, and it's nothing that I shy away from. I've had family members, friends, I've lost friends, and I think that's one of the obstacles I've came. And my father, he passed away when I was at a young age. My mom's been through multiple cancers, so I know the bad days. So I think it's so it's so important, change the condition, because at any given time, just change the condition of your life, try to change the condition of the day, your attitude, anything. And that's my message. But
I love that quote because I was actually going to bring that up because I have that written down. That change the condition. That's great. Applies to everything, and it's like in a positive light.
yes, thank you.
So how do you stay positive through all that? Because like I mean, addiction. Starting your own thing during that because you had that going on at your previous job.
Yes.
How were you able to work like that? Like did it
Man,
weigh you down?
I was never one of those people to call out to miss a day to do anything. I have a family, I have kids. It was something that Adrian, I hurt my back about 5 or 6 years ago, and you know how that story goes. It was never something
Yeah.
intended. It was never nothing intentional. But when I didn't have something to keep that back pain away, it was, I was sick and stuff. So at some point I had to just man up and say, look, I can't keep going on like this, because when you can't take something for the pain, you go out elsewhere looking for it. And nowadays it's so dangerous out there on the streets. So
Oh yeah.
man, just dealing with everyday emotion and actually feeling it. I was numb for so long, and to be able to come on here and just have this feeling, be able to, get the chills, but and just be able to feel again. There's hard days, but man, I'm just so thankful and blessed to be where I'm at. I thank every day for, how far I've came from 2019. I have my clean date right here tattooed on my arm. So, I'll
That's
never
what I
forget it.
thought. Yeah, that's what I
Mhm.
thought you had said that you had it tattooed. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a
You
good
know, this,
reminder.
Yeah, this is the blue collar world. This is the trade. It's real life out there. And if you do let your guard down and get caught slipping, you could, anybody could end up in the situation.
I think people are prone to it or in this trade because that's been a topic that others that I've seen talk about, right? Um, it's something unfortunately that's kind of common or happens. And like just think about it, right? You're in the trade, you like you said, an injury kind of caused that. We get
Right.
injured all the time. We throw our backs out, our knees out. This trade is rough on your body, and it's very easy to get into those addictions or look for a way to kind of ease the pain, so to speak. And then like you go down that rabbit hole. Now I can't speak from experience. It's just who I've talked to
Mhm.
about it, and it just seems like a huge struggle. Um, how did you stay, or how did you once you overcame it, how did you stay there? How did you or what kind of made you what was the turning point for you? How did you realize that you needed to change?
Man, I was reaching out to so many people because like I said, it's no way to live when you got to wake up in the morning and take something to, just to feel normal, I would say. And like I have two boys. I have a wonderful wife that stuck with me through everything. And uh, during the pandemic, during 2019, things were getting bad, and I said, look, I need help. I
Did
gave them
that
my
did that cause that to go through the roof, like the stress, anxiety, any of that stuff?
Yeah, and I tell people every time about how to do it. It's not that hard. You don't need to go away somewhere. You don't need to pay for some expensive getaway. Just be honest. I handed over my phone, my keys, and I said,
Yeah.
keep me in this house for 7 days, and that's what you got to do, man.
So that's how you did that.
That's the honest truth. You got to man up, and like I said, I was tossing and turning. There was hot baths. There's RLS. There's probably a week or two with no sleep, but man, the other side is beautiful if you can just make it to the other side.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I mean, that sounds horrible. That's a lot to go through,
Hmm.
but you have to think about the other end that you're coming out of, like how you're gonna be and all that after the fact. So, props to you, man, because not everybody can do that.
And I thank you, for even a lot of people, shy away, and just for even having the conversation about it. It's putting light on it. Somebody's going to be watching this out there struggling, and
Yeah.
just to be a proof, like I'm right here, and I'm chemical free. Don't take nothing. I wake up every day feeling great. My back don't hurt. And all them years I said, man, I need something for my back. And
Yeah.
it's really amazing.
No, that's it's real. It's what happens. It's the trades. I mean, it's not only the trades. This happens all over the world, all in all sorts of different ways. But people emphasize that on the trades, that it's hard, that like on your body, mentally, like so many different things. And if you can just stay the path or get on that path, and then make your do better for yourself, the sky's the limit, right? I mean, you're doing that right now. You have your business, you're doing well, you're even on social media, doing things there. And that's not for nothing. That's you getting through it, doing what you wanted to when you had your mindset on it, and succeeding.
That's it. And it would have never happened if I didn't get my head clear, get away. I probably would have still been at that company just putting units in, because I was a commercial installer, and so many people get stuck in the routine of just waking up, going to work, doing what
Yeah.
they're told. And I'm a firm believer I would have just still been killing my body, and you know still kill my body, but it's
In a good way.
in a good way.
Yeah, man. So after all that, after you cleaned up, got yourself or went through all that, that's when you started your business, right?
That's it. Yep.
So were you ready for that? Like, some people struggle to go from technician to business owner. Like, did you have that mindset, or did you just, one day, like, I'm going to try this?
Um, the learning curve goes through the roof. It does, and you just gotta take it all in. And you're not gonna be a master at everything. Like you said, I got to do the estimates. I got to do the technician part. I gotta do the scheduling, and it gets easier with time. But your learning curve definitely goes through the roof, from just being out in the field, putting units in, to doing the office part, doing everything.
Did you have like difficulties, like I don't know, like what were some of the difficulties? Like, was it charging? Was it any of the business aspect? Like, once you started your business, how hard was it?
Uh, yeah, I mean, because starting out, the
Did
hardest
you
thing is,
did you start out like doing well? Did you have like a slow start, or did you go up and down?
yeah, no, it's definitely slow going. And the hardest thing, especially in my area, is the competition, and trying to get my foot in the door as a little family owned company, and trying to give everybody a break. Trying to, just prove your name, just put your name out there. And that was my hardest thing, is you got to know your worth from the start. You can't, there's a difference of being honest, and then just giving it, your honest opinion, and doing what you got to do. But
So the competition, was that from bigger companies, or companies that were like undercharging and
oh
undercutting
yeah,
you?
the bigger companies around here, man,
Okay.
there's in my area, there's a lot of companies, and to pop up as a new company like I did, I got on the internet, I got on Google everything, got my website. And it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. Just knowing people to get you into spots, get you into buildings. And I've been really blessed with getting into a few buildings just with friends, and people putting my name out there. And I tell people it's hard, but you'll never do it if you don't just do it. And that's with any business
Yeah.
owner. Just get your foot out there and do it. You're gonna have slow months. You're gonna struggle financially for a little bit, but the reward at the end is worth it.
So I don't know, like, how abruptly you started the business. Like I said, you went from technician, you went through your struggles, and then you started. Did you ever
Mhm.
network at your or before that? Like, before you started your business, did you try and put anything out there, or did you do all that afterwards? Like, because people, like, I do some business content here and there, and people always ask me, how do you get customers, or how do you get commercial customers? Like, that's always everybody's fear. Was that all like after you started your business, or did you have anything lined up beforehand?
Man, I just had wonderful friends and family. Like I said, I was in the trade for over 10 years before I started my company, so people knew about me. I was always doing stuff on the side. That's probably
That's
not
what.
the best.
No, I know that's how everybody starts though, but
Yeah,
that's why I always tell people don't be ashamed to be like I do HVAC. I can do this or do that, right? Um, Word of mouth, like you said, family, friends. That's the quickest
that's
advertisement there.
that's all you need, really. That's all you need. I don't
Yeah.
really put too much into advertising, social media. Um, couple ad posts here and there on Facebook, but it's all about just one customer telling another customer.
So when you started, I heard you say something about like Google and websites. So you try to do the online presence from the get go,
Mhm.
right?
Yep, yep, yep.
And then since you do residential, did you try any billboards or was it all like word of
No,
mouth or
no,
getting around?
I called for some billboards, and once they told me the price of them, I said,
Yeah,
golly,
yeah.
I'll buy a new
Because
work van before I do that."
and then your work van, I always tell people, and you can buy it used. I still buy used vans
Mhm.
myself. If you get the van, wrap it, letter it, whatever it is, that's your mobile billboard right there, right? I've been stopped so many times just because of my van.
Exactly. I don't know if you've seen the video when my first van I got wrapped. When I first started, my card got declined when I went to go pick it up. That's how much of a struggle because I just bought a heat pump system, and
Uh,
he let me take it. He said, "Man, go put that unit in and pay me when you can." And that's where you gotta start. You gotta start from the bottom. And he
yeah.
spotted me a wrap. I couldn't believe it. He let me drive away. I was like, "Don't peel it off. Don't peel it off." But that was the biggest thing. I wanted to show up looking professional and, like you said, advertise while you're driving around. And
Yeah,
um,
man. And like I tell people, unfortunately, because like when you go from technician to business owner and all that, like you might still have that technician mindset. I had that conversation with somebody, and you like, the work speaks for itself. I do really good hands-on this and that, but like unfortunately, you need to learn the business side and all that, but you need to look the part too, right? So whether that's a uniform, your van, whatever it may be, you just need to be professional in some sort of way. And then, like I always tell people, that's unfortunate that we have to look the part, but that's the thing, right? Like you said, you really wanted to show up in that van wrapped, looking nice, right? Because that shows the customer something too. And that's the way it is.
that is, it is. And yeah, the company I come from, they were, man, that's why I was there for over 10 years. I didn't company hop. I started there green and I worked my way all the way up to a lead commercial installer. They were all about, putting drop claws down, being professional,
Oh yeah.
shirts tucked in, uniforms, vans looking clean, vans, put away, organized. He'd come out and if your van was a mess, you definitely would hear it. So I believe I was trained. Man, the people I came up under when I got into the trade, I'm so thankful for that as well. That's why I can't stress enough. Get in with a good company if you're a helper. Don't be scared to find a good company.
So let me back up a little bit. How did you get into the trades? It was, you said you went to trade school, right? Was that your foot in the door, or did you know of it before?
Yeah. So I got hired. My wife's brother was in the trade. That's how I got introduced to it. And when I got hired, they put me through a trade school, a 4-year school. They paid
Oh,
for
okay.
everything. And then after that I tested for my master's.
So
In
just real quick, how did they sell you on HVAC? Like, was it just a job that you needed, or was there something about it that you liked?
Man, I barely graduated high school, and honestly, when I graduated, I went up. Me and my grandma, we were looking at Nova. It's Northern Virginia Community College. I actually took 1 or 2 courses there, and I was like, hey, that's what I'm going to do. And then my brother-in-law was already in the trade, so um, I just ventured over and got hired at that company, and that's how that happened. And then they paid for the 4-year school. I went 2 nights a week for 4 years. It was a pretty long process to do that.
Yeah, I think the one I took was like 2 years or like a year and a half, because the other stuff was like the what do you call it? The basics, algebra, English, whatever. So
Oh,
technically it was a year and a half of HVAC. And I
mhm.
thought that was kind of long, but like you went for the 4-year program. I
A
was that
trade
a
school.
was that a trade school or a college?
Trade school.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's actually not bad. Did you learn a lot there? Like, was it, in your opinion, like a good one?
It was man. my fourth year teacher, she was an older female from Washington D.C., an engineer, and I learned so much doing heat loads in that class. We had to do our own heat loads, and we
Yeah.
actually had to do a whole house. And that fourth year, I believe that was the most critical year. The first year, getting introduced to it, you're still working all day, showing up at class at 6 o'clock at night. One day, I even left the unit on a vacuum. I went to school, and then I said, "Man, I gotta leave at like 9." I went back to the job, broke the vacuum loose, and I really was proud to have an HVAC truck pulling up to the school wearing an HVAC hoodie and stuff. Let I was really
That's
part
how
of it.
that's how I was too, because I was working for my dad as a helper, but we would subcontract the HVAC stuff because my dad, he works on like the cooking equipment. So we do restaurants, but he does cooking equipment. I was a helper. We would hire guys to do the refrigeration or whatever it was, and that's how we got away with that. And then I was going to school at the same time, so I would pull up in the work van in my uniform. Sometimes I would ditch class, like you said, to go do a job or something.
Mhm.
You worked it out better because you did your class during the vacuum, but like they'll be like, where are you at? And I'm like, wow, I really want to get to my call, So I was trying to balance it too, like you. But I worked for my dad. It was a little more lenient.
Yeah, man. I went through the 4 years with the same group of guys, so man, it was a pretty good experience. I have to say, it was pretty fun for working all day and then going and joking around. We Half the time we were just cracking jokes, laughing, talking about jobs, but it definitely the book side of it and getting a little depth into the science behind it. Because anybody, I say it a lot. You can put in an outdoor unit is a lot, but then when you go to turn it on one time and it don't work, it's like, man, what do? You got to really know the troubleshooting skills behind it, the sequence of
I've
operation.
I've been there. You put something
Mhm.
in, something is loose or not put in right, and then you're trying to like trace it down, right? So you got to be able to do um, that, like your schematics, your troubleshooting, all that on the spot. A lot of the times, when you're in HVAC. So, and that's another thing I like, that it's a lot of on the spot problem solving, stuff like that. That's why I love the service so much, and that's what we do mostly. And then we do change outs here and there, but like I really get a kick out of the service side, thinking on my feet and all that.
Yeah, see, I was a installer for the 10 years, so venturing over, doing all
The
this.
whole the whole 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, we did service too. Like I did run a service call here and there, but I had a big box truck. I
Oh,
was,
okay.
yeah, I was the lead commercial installer. We were doing commercial jobs, big split systems, 7.5 ton air handlers, the splits. But yeah, those are fun taking all those apart. We used to take them and have to rebuild them up in the ceiling. Those the big air handlers.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely the troubleshooting world is you learn something every day.
So then, did your school help, like, as far as like what you learned when you got into service? Because like, if you did install that whole time, I feel like your mind space tends to go to install, right? Like that's what you were so used to. And then you start your business. I'm assuming you did a lot of service, or what was your business based on when you started?
Well, man, whatever
Anything
whatever
and
call
everything,
came in,
right?
it was unlimited. Like I said, we would run. When I got into the trade, I was started as a helper doing inspections at a high-rise building. It was like 21-story building, and I was on the roof for months at a time. And the technician inside would just go down the tier, and I'd have a walkie-talkie. So I was familiar with pressures, and when it was slow, I would go around with the service techs and do service. So I was I know about service and before I went out on my own, but definitely when I started my company and every day going out, definitely seeing some new things, new issues.
Yeah, man. And I've heard that a lot from people, that they start an install. I mean, that's a way to get their foot in the door, and then they try to
Mhm.
transition to service, or something like that. Some people find it difficult. Some people can do it. So I mean,
Yeah,
everybody's different.
I do love install. Like I said, my perfect day is like setting the rooftop unit. They're so nice, just gas, electrical, plug and play. Setting it, using the crane, setting it on the curb. That's my perfect day up on the roof.
Man,
But
we don't even deal with gas anymore here.
no,
Everybody's been electric now.
Yeah, we
So,
have everything here in Virginia. We have gas furnaces, heat pumps. We got some oil. I don't mess too much with oil.
oh, okay.
Yeah, but there are here in Virginia. We do got oil furnaces. Man, we got geothermal water source heat pumps. We got it all.
What I've known you for the longest is the whole buddy thing, right? So how did you come up with that? Is that based on anybody in
Man,
particular?
I've trained. Oh man, I've trained a handful of helpers, and to me, honestly, that's the funnest thing is when you get a helper and just so many things throughout the day that happens that you just get a laugh at, and you almost they're unbelievable, but you can't do nothing because they don't really know. And that's where these buddy, a lot of them buddy stories, they're true stories. And like I said, I've trained over probably 5 helpers that are completely green to becoming lead
Okay.
service techs or tech or installers. And
That makes so much sense now.
yeah, I've just converted everything that I've seen to a comedy, and it does help some of the newer techs. Like Buddy, he kept replacing every part on it, and it was the thermostat. And you break it down into some comedy, and it's like, man, you got to keep it simple. It was just a thermostat, Buddy, but you changed every part on it.
That's awesome. So I forgot to ask, how big is your company then? Like, is it you? Do you have helpers or do you have anybody else working with you?
Yeah, it's 4 of us. We're pretty small. It's a family. When I started
We're
this,
we're four too, so I get it.
mhm. Yeah, it's super small, and hopefully one day it'll grow to have 10 trucks on the road, but I'm content right now. I'm happy and just letting it all play out how it does.
Have you ever had more, or have you always been in that number?
Nah, yeah, just always been right there.
Because when we started, I worked for my dad, and then my brother started working with us, and then my uncle started working with us. So like that's the four that we are right now, and we have a helper, sometimes like part time.
Same
So
same thing. It's family
okay,
members as well. Hmm.
okay. So have you had any issues, or is it all
No,
good
no
times?
issues yet, and they actually don't really do social media. I can bring the phone out, and they're like, "Come on, man, again," and they don't really see. And I'll text them like, "Hey, that video we did got 500,000 views," and they'll just hit me with the thumbs up or something. It's like, come on, guys.
No, so none of them are on TikTok or Instagram or
No,
anything.
no, they don't really like being shown too much. So,
Are they all younger than you, or how does that work?
uh, 2 of them are older and one's younger.
And then
Yep.
you're in charge of them.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So I only ask because like some people absolutely cannot work with their family. They butt heads. I've seen people leave their company, like their dad's company, stuff like that. I'm over here like, we're all good, right? Like I have a good relationship with my dad. My brother sometimes gets on our nerves, but like, that's just like little brother things. It's not a big deal. And for the most part, we run the company really well based off of four guys, because before, what I was going to say is that we went up to like 8, 9 people, and the quality control just like went out the door, and dealing with callbacks, ordering too many parts, get a lot of miscommunication, a lot of expenses that came up. So like we had to learn that early on, and we downsized and all that. Like I said, we've been very comfortable at four. We make so much more money now. Like everything's gone smoothly, and I'm on the fence of like expanding again or just kind of staying like this for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I agree, man. I want to be everywhere too. Is like I want to be on every install and every service call. I want to know what's going on. Quality control, that's huge. And these bigger companies, I feel when they grow to the company I started at, we started at man 5 or 6 guys, and when I left there, 25 guys maybe. I seen it grow so much, and you're right. The owner had no clue about the jobs that were going out that day, and so, as an owner myself, I don't know how I would feel about that. Just not knowing the jobs going out, not knowing how the work is getting done, the safety, is it up to code? I just
Oh
I'm too obsessive compulsive. I gotta know.
yeah, we like, and then I was given like a supervisor role when I was younger, just to try and we were trying to fix it at one point. We were trying to get everything under control. and it's hard to keep tabs on that many people. And some people can do it. Some guys, I know some guys that have huge companies that they keep growing and growing and growing. Hats off to them. uh, I like to remind people that everybody's success is different, right? Like I might be happy at for small business, making good money, and then like doing what I will with it, right? If I want to expand it, if I don't. Some people's success is having like 40 trucks out there or whatever it is and making a ton of crazy money, and that's they deal with those extra headaches though. Everybody's success is different, and I'm very happy with us. You got a little friend there?
Yeah, yeah, he's right here. What you doing? He's just hopped up in here.
I was like, I couldn't tell if it was a cat or a dog, because I've had some guests that have their dogs come out and stuff.
Yeah.
So everybody's success is different. That's why I always try to remind people, because everybody's always so focused on like how much they're making, this and that. It's just like, are you doing well? Are you doing good for yourself? Because I'm very happy. I get free time. That's another big thing on the on the being a business owner, right? Is like you get to schedule yourself, kind of like turn away work when you want to. I know that's more difficult for you. You like to take everything, but that's the privilege you get being a business owner. And everybody that's in this trade has the potential to be a business owner, right? Like that's achievable by everybody.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Sometimes I like, man, should I walk away from this one? And I'm like, nope, and I just take it, and that's how you learn, and that's how you I believe you progress in this.
Has that ever like come back to bite you when you take on a job that you probably shouldn't?
Oh man, not yet, not yet.
Okay.
But they all have their fights and stuff. But the feeling of after you do something like I did
Oh,
a million BTU boiler, and it's like, man, once you do that, it's like I said it before. I feel like you can do anything at that point, and it gives
it's
you a
it's a
lot of
great
confidence.
it's a great feeling when you get those things done. Those calls, or those bigger, that a bigger equipment, that big account that you get.
Yeah,
Been there, but we've had that. I think it was more so, like I said, when we grew too fast. It was like, are we making money? Are we losing money? Stuff like that. So everybody has their ups and downs or slow starts, but like I
hmm
said, being a business owner and doing your own thing, that's achievable by anybody in this trade. I think a lot of people are good examples of that. Yourself included. You're very, what I would consider, successful in it, and it's a good thing to do.
I remember my first raise at the company. I was a helper. We had a Christmas party, and I stood up and thanked everyone there, and I said, just thank you for training me, thank you for staying in there. I promise I'm going to pick it up, and I promise I'll stop having these long days and making these mistakes. And the owner said, Monday you're getting a $2 raise coming into my office, and I did. I went into his office, and he gave me $2, and but I worked my way up at that company. I think when I left there, man, I was somewhere around like $45 an hour when I left that company.
Damn, that's nice.
Yeah, yeah. But this is the Washington D.C. area, so it's different everywhere around the
Oh yeah, I
world.
got to remind people all the time, because they ask me about like what like the pay is, or anything like
hmm
that, money wise. I'm like, first of all, like, where are you? Because like everybody's different, right? So like in my area, I'm a low market area. It's going to be low pay, but the cost of living is like super low here. All that's different depending on where you're at. Because like if you're calling me from California, you're going to get paid probably double what I'm making over here, just to even be able to pay your rent, or whatever it is, right? Like it's a whole different thing. So that's something I have to remind people too.
Yeah, I mean the helper stories, man. Them falling through the roofs, and man, I've seen tons of stuff with the helpers, and it. Just never gets old. I love training my son. He's about to turn 15. I told him, I said, next year you're getting a set of gauges, and I think that's going to be my next buddy, my next younger helper, because I was like, should I hire like a 19, 20-year old? But my son's almost there, and it's like,
Oh yeah,
man.
that'd be awesome. I have mine are 8 and 10, and they've been interested here and there, and I'm like, man, later on, if they ever want to get into the trade, you know, I'd be super stoked, man. So you've seen a thing or two with the helpers, and like I think I saw one of your videos recently where it's like, what if HVAC techs were traded like athletes and stuff, and you mentioned like the falling through the ceiling,
Yeah,
flooding basements, and all that. Um, you've run into those issues with your guys, right?
yeah. It's man, it's amazing the stuff you see. I've seen. I had a
How do you
helper.
deal? Well, how do you deal with somebody falling through the ceiling? Because I don't do residential or anything like that. Like, how does the customer react to that?
So the helper at the time, I seen him step through the ceiling, but then I guess he got nervous and he tried to lie. And he said, "I was like, did you just step through the ceiling?" He said, "No, I didn't. My foot didn't go through." And then, of course, the lady downstairs, she said, "Oh my God, there's a hole." And so that's how that went. And then, you got to have a drywall guy on payroll at this point. So many, so many. A lot of it happens a lot. I've never really done it. I guess I'm good at stepping on the studs. I'm knock on wood, but
I'm not used to it. I was here in my own house, and in my own house, going to check something. But the way this one's set up, the access is on the completely other side, right? Like I said, I don't do a lot of residential, so I had to clear the house. I didn't step through the ceiling, but like the heel part kind of touched the sheetrock a little bit, and I heard a crack, and I'm like, "Don't tell me." So I had to come back down, and there's a huge crack. So we had to get the drywaller out. I was like, "Damn,
yeah,
I did it to my own house."
yeah. I had a helper fall through the ceiling, and the 2x4 caught him between the legs. We were at a mansion in
Oh
McLean,
man.
Virginia, and the interior designers were going through the house to go through the rooms, and they opened up the door, and the whole room was filled with that popcorn insulation, and they just started yelling. And man, he took off going to buy drywall like he was going to patch it, and the owner was like, "No, no, no, I'm going to pay someone." But yeah, I've had landscapers like we do in Northern Virginia. There's some high end houses, and the landscapers robbed the houses while we were doing a change out, and that got pretty serious. But they ended up finding out it was the landscapers. Yeah, it's been there's some stories, and a lot of these stories are true, or it's stuff that I've done. When I was a helper, I told the house had 6 systems, and I recovered the wrong one. So when the lead went to cut the coil in the attic, he got sprayed, and man,
Oh
I didn't even
man.
ride home with him that day. I called somebody to pick me up from the job, and that's the long nights that you go through, and you just gotta keep fighting. And I could have gave up there and been like, man, I can't do this. This isn't for me. But I just showed up the next day, and that's what it's all about.
And that man, that's what I was wondering about. The whole as far as your content, like are these things that actually happen? But you've lived through that stuff.
Yeah, everything. Yep. I try to. It's pretty authentic. Everything I do.
It's Yeah, I'm sure you were stressed out when it happened, but like, going now looking back at it, you can laugh about it and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, I try to laugh about everything. If it's not nobody got hurt, then everything can be fixed. I didn't tell you this, but I came up from somebody from Brooklyn. That's who I was trained under. He was a guy from Brooklyn. And he was really intense, and that kind of man that gave me the anxiety starting out. Being green, being new, and then it turned out he was a great he was someone to learn from. It was great, and it got to the point that if I wasn't with him, like if I was missing a day, he's like, "Where you at, kid? I need you," because we just man, but yeah, he was really intense. He'd show up to a house. We're gonna be here for about 8 hours, and we're gonna make a lot of noise. And I was like, man. And he was really critical in doing ductwork. He designed the whole mechanical room. He would from the as high as you could redo everything. I was like, man, he'd love to draw up ductwork and stuff. And I love ductwork too. That's a lot of people don't get into the ductwork side. And going out on my own as a business owner to be able to do the install service, everything, I felt like that's really I had all the points covered where I felt comfortable enough to, I could go out, I could run commercial duct, I could set a rooftop, I could do a residential. So that was
Yeah,
huge.
man. Be well rounded, right?
Well
Um
rounded, exactly.
so did that so then he's the one that you said you came under from, like you that
Yeah,
he kind of
yeah. When
taught
I
you.
got when I went to that company, I bounced around at first from service, and then I found my spot doing installs with them. We did residential, commercial, and I stayed with him until I got my own truck. I think about 3 or 4 years in, I got my own truck, and then I got a
Oh, okay.
helper. Yeah, and then I just went through it. And I remember me and my helper going out on our first install. Whew, it, I mean, I'd hate to go back and inspect that thing, but
No, we all have those, man.
yeah.
So as far as like when you do need a helper, because like I said, a lot of people watching this or listening to this, they're of the younger generation, the guys getting into it. They might be a helper themselves. Like, what are some things that you look for in a helper, or like what should they? I don't know. I guess we can close out on like what kind of advice would you give some of the young guys?
For me, it's just pay attention. Always know that next move. Man, if the lead tech was brazen, I was getting a wet rag ready for him. If whatever next part that he was going on to, I knew the next step, so he knew that I was ready too. Eventually, you're just putting in outdoor units. You put in outdoor units. That's how I started, and then you work your way inside, and then you get the inside because the helpers always does the condenser, always does the outdoor,
Yeah.
and then once you start doing the inside and getting a grasp of it that way, but it for me it's just showing up, try not to pick up bad habits, and you get them guys like, oh, I do it this way, but it's like, nah, we really want it done like this. And so it's great getting people that are new because you could train them how you want, and they don't have the bad habits.
How do you train your guys? Like, are you explaining the whole call through and through, or are you having a discussion like before or after the call?
Yeah, I know. Sometimes it's like the lead always gets the unit running. Like they send the helper to the truck, and it's like you come back and it's running. It's like, what'd you do? It's like, oh man, it's 100 degrees out. We'll tell you. I'll
Yeah.
tell you next time. But I always try to, even the customer, when the customer, that's the one thing about residential too. The customer's always standing right there. Yesterday, I was doing a blower motor, and I had both of them just hovering over me, and I was just like, that's why I love commercial. You don't
Oh,
really
okay.
get that. You don't really get that on commercial, but for me, training helpers, man, just show up every day, and that was my hardest part with helpers is having to go pick them up because they're not showing up. When I'm leaving at
Yeah.
6, I'm leaving at 6, and I'm pretty hard. I was the guy on the job that nobody really wanted to work with. I'd skip a lunch, and I would give 12 hard hours of just straight work, and it's like, man, and so many people are like, Casey, slow down. Why are you doing that? But I feel like even at that other company, I treated it like it was my own. Every single job, I put my 100, I put everything, all my effort into it, and treated every job like it was my own. So when I am out on my own, it's like I was already ready for it. But man, for helpers, it's just, man, just showing up and learning.
Even myself, like what you were talking about right now, like I hate when somebody like a helper is making me late, or I got to go out of my way, right? Because I was the same way as you. Like I just want to do the call, get it done, get all my work done, and I would skip lunch. I know it's a bad thing sometimes, but I had that kind of mindset too. So just don't, like you said, just be ready and be whether that's first thing in the morning or at the job site when you're doing the next step in the service install, whatever it is, just be ready, because that is one thing that always drove me nuts is when they weren't ready. Like I know they're new, I know they're the helper, we're training them, but like try, at least try, because that's a big deal. Like I said, I didn't like them making me late, so I guess I was also like that because when I was a helper, when I started out, I woke up, extra early. I was, because I used to get picked up. I made sure that I was dressed, ready, like way ahead of time, right? Making sure that when they came to pick me up, all they did was like give a honk or a text, whatever it was, and I was running out the door. Let's get to work, right? That was always my mindset. I try to respect whoever was training me or whoever I was riding with, and I just expect that from anybody that rides with me now.
Yeah, yep, that's it. That's exactly right. I got picked up too, and I used to meet them when I first started at a parking lot, and I'd show up.
Okay.
Sometimes I wait at that parking lot, it's just, I guess, initiation to the trade, 30, 40, maybe an hour, just waiting for him to pick me up, and he'd show up, sorry kid. But there was the guy that trained me, he was good friends with the owner, so um yeah, I always got to go work at the owner's house. The owner's dad was big into school. That's who put me through the school, and big into training and all that.
Well, man, I appreciate you. I try to, we're at an hour and I don't want to keep you too long. Definitely, keep in touch. We can probably have more of these discussions about your stories, like, some of the fun stories and stuff. We can probably do that at another time. I really
Oh yeah,
appreciate you for coming out, man.
no problem. Yeah, I've set rooftop units backwards. You go
I
down
ran
and
in
get
I
it.
ran into one of those, man. Like
Did you?
from here, like, I was like, what is going on? I'm like, oh shit, the unit's backwards.
Yeah, I did that, and we swapped the unit around. We were there till 9 o'clock at night, but yeah, that would be fun to get on here and talk about some job mess ups. Just to show people that you do mess up. It's just knowing the next step. Just
Yeah,
always having the tool out for the lead, knowing what's next. Don't spend all day putting the condenser in. Come inside, put the thermostat on. Get the unit on a pressure vacuum, do all that, and load the trash up. Just make the job go smoother, and after that, you'll be a lead before you know it.
exactly, man. Always be doing something, right? Always be productive, right?
Hmm.
Because there's plenty of times when you're waiting on that vacuum or doing something else, and you could be getting something else
Yeah.
done.
I've sent helpers home before. One time I was on the roof. Yeah, I was that guy. That's what I said. Nobody
Okay.
wanted, but I was on the roof and I asked him to get me something. And I looked down and he was playing a game. They played some game on their phone. I don't know what it was, and he ignored me. I said, "Man, you just ignore my message. Why I need a piece of gas pipe." And I said, "Just go home," and I sent him home. But sometimes you gotta do that.
Yeah, even that I get annoyed with too. I'm like sending the helper to go get a part from the van or something I need. I'm like, what the hell is taking so long? Like stuff like that. It's
I called him
just
on his phone and then I texted him. He ignored it. And I was looking down at him. I said, "Man, you got to go." But I got a buddy video coming up. I was going to sew his pockets closed, because the helpers always got their
oh
hands in their pockets. So that's my next one. I'm trying to get a
I
sew.
yeah, because that's another one too. Like somebody else had that saying, like keep your hands out of your pockets. Always
Yeah.
be doing something.
Yep. So yeah, that's next on my list. But man, thank you for the time. And yeah, I'd like to do it again. You shed light on the trade. I appreciate what you do, talking about not many. I love to see more people come on here. Blue collar build. There's Mr. Rogers. There's so many people that are actually making HVAC
I
videos
told
now.
I told Mr. Rogers. He said yes, but we haven't discussed when. That was a while back. I need to get him on here.
Yeah, they're all amazing people. There's so many in the HVAC family on here, and I'm thankful just to be able to share
Yeah,
my
man.
story.
And now you're on Instagram, so there's a whole other community there too. That's what I've told people. Like TikTok has a group, Instagram has a group, YouTube has a group. Like we all need to just, you know, interact, network, talk to each other.
Yeah, yep. What
All
it's
right, man.
all
Well,
about.
I want to close it out. Like I'll put all your info in the description of the podcast and the YouTube, where they can find you. I know you're on TikTok and Instagram. I don't know if there's anything else you want to put out there.
Yeah, I'm just like I said, I'm venturing over. I'm just starting all the other stuff. I'm a little late to the game, but
Yeah, you'll get there, man.
yeah. I figured better now than never.
Instagram's a good community. I can vouch for those guys. I've been on there for a long time, but like I said, I appreciate you for coming on. We need to do this again soon. I do want to leave on your quote. I love that quote. Change the condition, right?
Yep,
For
got a tattoo
yourself.
right here.
Oh, you
Change the
do.
condition. Yep, that's right there.
Awesome,
But
man. Yeah, because I have like mind over matter. That's something my dad would always put on us, and then I got positive vibes on this arm.
I love it. Yeah,
That's I just always be positive. Always, there's always a better way. There's always a way to better yourself. So that's why I wanted to close out on that. Change the condition. Like you said, you're a great example of that. I love what you do, man. I've always been a big fan of your content, the serious and the funny
thank-
stuff. So thanks, man.
no, thank you.
All right. So everybody watching and listening, I appreciate you guys for coming out, and I'll see you guys next time.
Let's go.